Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll start in a few minutes. We're still waiting on our key speaker. So just a few minutes. Hey, everyone. If you missed me the last time, please give us just a few more minutes waiting on our key speaker. Hey, I see Pablo on the call. Pablo, are you with us?
Hello. I don't know if this is working.
Hey, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
So it's working.
I am Mama. Been trying to get in, and I think one thinks that they're tech savvy until they want to get in a Zoom conference and connect their microphone and everything. Then they realize, no, you're not. Hi.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I had to cough while asking. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Cheer?
I'm great. I think some people in our community were looking forward to see if you're going to appear with a wig again.
If I'm going to what?
To
If
have a
I
wig
was going to
on.
appear with a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't bring my wigs today. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I feel so bad now. Usually wigs are a surprise. Sounds like here was a requirement.
It is, and we'll expect it next time.
Yeah. Okay. Next time, well, we'll have an excuse for doing the next one.
Definitely. Cool. So, welcome and thank you so much for being here with us today. We really appreciate it. Everyone is so excited to meet you. We have people on Zoom, people on Facebook. Everyone are just excited to hear from you. Cool. So I don't want to spend too much time about the community before we start. So I'm just going to stop my share. You all know us. But I would say that if you are worried about missing part of this conversation because you have to drop down, don't worry, this is recorded because we are going live in Facebook, so you can find the link in Facebook after the talk we have as well. So Pablo, should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started. So today I think we're going to do just a Q&A session potentially, and also I think there were some questions that were already asked, so maybe we can go over those, and happy to also like share. Sorry, I'm just like where do you have a document?
I have a document, and don't worry, I can ask you the questions, so you don't need to worry about that. I do just want to say for everyone on the Zoom call, if you have questions while Pablo is speaking, we're friends, just put them in, you can ask your questions. I also allowed people to unmute during this session, unless we'll encounter a bug, and then I won't allow it anymore. So yeah, Pablo, let me know if it's okay. But I think if someone has a question outside of our list, just feel free to unmute and ask.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, okay, so let's get started. With the most votes for us, people were asking, what is your creative process when creating new projects, and how do you start?
My creative process. Give me 1 second. I'm looking at there's a Facebook group, right, where the questions are.
There is. You want me to send you a link?
Yeah. So my creative process when creating new projects, I don't know. I just go over it. I think the creative process is overrated. It's just like doing it, making it happen. That's a creative process. I mean, if we want to talk about like steps and stuff like that, I usually, it's never just like one way of doing it. I try to follow something that will spark that creativity and just get me in the flow. And sometimes it's really just, it starts with basic sketches and basic writing on the idea. And then just like a massaging that idea until it becomes something that feels better. But like a lot of the times I go from a very early idea and jump straight into creating something, straight into the tool and actually start putting something together and let the process go organically, where like the creation happens as I'm doing it. So instead of trying to plan everything ahead, I try to do it at the same time. So things are happening and they're being created as I'm actually putting the pixels and I'm like putting things together. So the creative process is chaotic. I try to put some order on it, but usually the chaos reigns. So that's my answer to that.
That's a good answer. But you know what? I think that maybe I went too quickly into a very into a question that relies on the fact that everyone knows everything you're doing. So maybe we can take a step back and you can kind of let us know what you've been doing over the last year since we last seen you.
Yeah. So let's talk about you, Pablo. I'm a designer. I'm also an illustrator, and I also make comics. I write comics. Although lately I've been doing less and less of that, and I've been doing less of instead. Like I upgraded from designer to being a CEO. I still design everything, but now we just hired a designer, and that makes me so happy because I trust this designer with everything, and I'm sure that they're going to be making stuff 10 times better than me. So I like went from designer to being CEO. And as the CEO, well, it was just like like starting a company, going with investors, doing a lot of meetings, doing a lot of one-on-ones, and also planning a vision, and just like doing all the other stuff that are in a way are like something that we designers do, but now I just do it with a different title. And what I mean, we designers do it just like selling this vision to a team and selling this idea to a team, and sometimes even get them excited about this idea so we can all go and do them. And I think I went from illustrator and doodler to NFT artist, whatever that means. So I went from making illustrations and doodles and stuff like that to creating. I jumped into the crypto NFT world a few months ago, and ever since, like I've been just like, it's almost like a black hole. It just sucks you in, and like all of my focus has been on the NFT space. And I created a collection of NFT collection of 10,000 pieces that is called Robotos. And these pieces are all different, but they're all based on like pretty much just an illustration system, which I will be happy to show you, by the way. It's an illustration system that creates and it's a generative art that like it with an algorithm makes choices about what things to connect, and then creates a piece out of those elements that you create. And then those 10,000 pieces, collectors get them. Right now, it's around 5,200 collectors who have at least one piece. And that gives them access to a community and access to the world of these illustrations. It's not just illustrations, but the world around them in the universe. And it's called Robotos, and it's been awesome, just like going through that experience. Been learning a lot, learning about all the opportunities in the Web3 space, and the crypto space, like all opportunities for artists and also for designers. I think right now the Web3 space needs a lot of designers, like going through the different steps of like creating a collection, but like minting something, creating a contract, all the different things that you have to do, doing airdrops. And I don't want to bore you with all the details, but going through that as a designer, it was mind blowing how heavy it is on the tech side, where a lot of the tools that are out there either don't exist, or the ones that do exist are made. You can see that it was made by with a functional mindset, whereas like it just gets the job done, but like getting the job done doesn't feel like you have to go through a flow that doesn't feel very intuitive or doesn't feel friendly. Stuff that a designer will usually make it happen. So I'm like, wow, this space needs designers, but it's really new too. So I'm pretty sure that later, if you want to get ahead, you can change your LinkedIn profile to be a Web3 designer. And you're going to get a lot of recruiters hit you up. So yeah, like went from illustrator to NFT artist, went from designer to CEO, and also from making comics, now I'm transitioning into this is gonna sound weird, but into making a TV show. So like telling stories has been something that has always been like really true to my core. It's like whatever I do, I try to have a story behind it. I imagine even the sound effects in my head, and I imagine what happened to this character, to this doodle, where do they live, what do they think about, what are the values, and it's always been part of my process. You were talking about like asking about the creative process. That's something that is always in my mind. I never really just write it down or express it. It's just something that is in my head. And now I'm having the opportunity to do something that is turning those comics into something that is hopefully, I mean, it's still really early, but ideally it will be something that is more potentially soon in your screens or your tablets or your TVs. And yeah, that's pretty much it from the last years. By the way, we're just closing a series and around fun, and it's I don't know, a lot of stuff, a lot of things. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay.
No.
Next question.
Pablo, this is great. This is so interesting. And I have to say, by the way, the website for Robotos is robotos.art. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Robotos.art, A-R-T.
So I just sent it in the chat. Everyone can go check it out. Sorry, I stopped you, Pablo.
Yeah, no, that's it. And also, if you want to become a collector and want to be part of the community, the secondary sales of these pieces are on a website, a marketplace called OpenSea, and that's where people usually resell their pieces. So if you want to buy one of these, you can get one there. But also in the community, you can go to our Discord, and you don't have to be a collector to be part of the Discord.
It's awesome. I have to say, I know that you're kind of saying maybe it goes too technical, but to be honest with you, I think a lot of the people here are very technological and very interested in understanding that world of NFT. So following one of the questions we got from Rui in the chat, he was asking, what do designers need to know before starting their own NFT projects? Do you have any like tips or something that you would suggest reading or knowing?
Like anything that you need before you create a collection? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
So, well, you need a wallet as the first thing. I think there are different things. One is that it's not like you might see the news, you might see the hype, and like people making extravagant amounts of money in the space, and you're like, wow, I just going to put a piece out there and it's going to sell for millions of dollars. And I mean, you could like, but it's really a small percentage of the artists who get to do that right now. But also at the same time, it's so early that the opportunity to be one of those artists is higher, since it's not as crowded as what let's call the Instagram world or the Web2 world of artists selling their art. I think one thing that you need to know is that it's not as different on the side of community building. So if you already have a community that you're building around your art and around your creations, it's like the same principles apply on the NFT space. But I would say that on the NFT space, the community is crucial. Like the value of your piece and the value of your art is measured by what the community thinks. It's like we all think, we all have agreed that the Mona Lisa is a very valuable piece. We all have that mentality. We have been told since we were kids that it's a masterpiece from Leonardo da Vinci. It is, right? So, and we know that it's in the Louvre, and we know that it's one of the most valuable, beautiful pieces in the world. It might be objectively beautiful too, but the value of it, we all have agreed that it is that, and we all have agreed, yes, that is a very valuable piece. Same thing applies in the NFT space, where a piece of art, it has to get the community has to think that it's valuable too. People have to agree that this value, or maybe even say this is undervalued, we should sell it even higher. Or you don't want people to say this is overpriced, it should be lower. So there's a lot of in the NFT space, there's a lot of speculation, and there's a lot of talk about the value of things. So if you're an artist, you need to have like a tough skin. Like you need to be ready for people putting a number on your art, and that can be really good, because you can be surprised that people actually value your art at a really high price. I have been surprised, actually. I have been telling people like, no, don't pay this amount. This is really just a doodle. But it's really not just the doodle. In the NFT space, like a piece of art is, or one of these, well, right now NFTs mostly are being used for art pieces or for collectibles, which, like, you will say, but that's just a JPEG. That's just a PNG. That's just a drawing, Pablo. And I can just right click and save it. What is the difference between that and the one that I'm saving? I think the value that comes with it is on the contract that you create, whereas like it's guaranteeing, verifying the ownership of a piece. Yeah, other people can also take a photo of the Mona Lisa. You can grab a print of the Mona Lisa. It's not the real one, but you can have it. You can hang it from your home, and you can say, look at the Mona Lisa, and you can say, wow, that is beautiful, and it's pretty, it's the same, right? But it's really not. We all know that the one in the Louvre is the one that is the real one. NFTs guarantee that the real one, and the ownership of this piece is with this wallet, this person, and this piece is the real one that came from this artist. So it's kind of a way of guaranteeing, authenticating something. And right now it's being used for art, and I see a future in which NFTs are going to be used for anything, in which NFTs will be used for the clothes you're wearing, for the pieces in, maybe you have already heard because of Facebook, the metaverse. Like in the metaverse, once we are all, our brains and our minds and our whatever this thing is, it goes into the digital world, that is a metaverse. Well, we're going to need also possessions too, or things that or bling, that represents us, that represents our culture, represents our taste, and those things. Also, you want to. There's going to be marketplaces to buy those things. There already are, actually, but they're in really early stages. And one of those marketplaces that already exists is on the art. So in this metaverse of the future, well, again, already exists, but let's say that it's 5 years away when it's more mainstream. Well, you will want to showcase your pieces of art, but it's not just the piece of art, but also your kind of the community that you belong to. And an NFT will guarantee and verify that you belong to a community by saying, look, this piece of art gives me access to Robotos, for example, or gives me access to the Cool Cats or to the Bored Apes, which are other communities that are around NFTs. So we see NFTs as a way to guarantee and authenticate art, possessions, and like membership of a community, and even tickets for events and a lot of different things, like anything that is that you want to authenticate and that it could be a thing or stuff in the metaverse, that is going to be an NFT. So it's, yeah, wow. I'm pretty much just like talking gibberish, I'm pretty sure, for a lot of people. But right now, how do you get in? I think you want, first and foremost, you want to have a wallet, and this is like a crypto wallet. A crypto wallet is pretty much just like a bank, but it's a bank that is controlled by you. Usually, well, banks or like a checking account in a way too, but it's controlled by you. It's not in a bank. You have ownership of this and you have control over it, and because of that, it's also pretty like anyone can enter, and you cannot go to someone and go to the police. Someone entered to my bank, because there's no police for that. There's no bank teller that is going to tell you. You are the bank. You are the checking account, and you have control over it. And that wallet, the crypto wallet, allows you to buy, trade things, but also allows you to authenticate yourself. So with that wallet address, you can go to a marketplace like OpenSea and put one of your pieces. And with that wallet address, like now, if it gets sold, then the profits will go to that wallet, to your wallet. Also, royalties will go to your wallet. So the wallet is the first step to enter the space, because in a way, it's kind of like authenticating you in the space and saying, this is me, this is my personality, this is my account. And after that, then you got to learn about, like, I think the most important thing, again, I go back to talking about community, and you want to build a community around your art that appreciates your art, appreciates you as an artist, appreciates the things that you're doing, and they'll want to have being collectors of your art. In a way, you will see that they want some access to you, or to your art, to your process. So be ready to do the things that you potentially already do on Instagram or LinkedIn now, where you share part of your process, like share it with your community specifically, and listen to the community, because the community will have comments about like, hey, what to do next, who you can collaborate with, what are the things that they value, and then potentially also cater your art or the things you're doing to that community you have created, and really listen, but also not just like, they're not your owners. They're not there to just tell you what to do, but they're there as a source of inspiration and as a source of creativity. So that's how I see the community and how I see the people, where it's like they're expanding my ideas. My idea was this is small on Robotos, and now it's a world, because the community has been contributing with their ideas and with their input. So in a way, it's a way to expand your ideas and also to give value to your art pieces. And after that, just keep going. I don't know, keep feeding the beast. The beast is always hungry. The beast always wants more food and more NFTs and more airdrops. So be prepared for a lot of work.
Very Matrix. What's going on here? I have to just say, Pablo, I don't know if you've been looking at the chat, but people find this extremely interesting and not gibberish at all. I'm sure that a lot of people here are not as familiar yet with NFT, but to be honest, like listening to someone that we all consider to be a very creative person and a very inspiring person, also speaking from a more technical point of view about NFTs and the financial side of design, I think it's not like it is super inspiring. I want to move to the next question, if it's okay with you, just to make sure we accommodate some of the other questions that were voted. So, you talked about your robots project. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. You said it differently, right? Robotos?
Robotos.
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 Okay,
Robotos.
robotos. Robotos.
Robotos. But robots is
Uh,
okay too.
okay, thanks. So you talked a lot about that. It seems very time consuming, and you also have your own startup. So people were asking, how do you find the time? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I think, well, uh, I hacked the system. Let me tell you how I hacked it. One, the hack is find, like, I don't know. Be lucky. That's how you hack the system. Be lucky on finding the right people. The people, like, I don't know. Like, I'm grateful of the team that I have. They make things look like, sometimes it, since I'm the face of a lot of the things, I get to take credit for a lot of things, but it's really just a really hardworking, passionate team who are working on different things. And I think I feel blessed and lucky to have found, to have tricked, convinced them into coming on this ride with me. And I say tricked because I feel like I tricked them into working on doodles and drawings, and somehow they do their best work, working on doodles that could be something that not a lot of people find valuable. Step one, be lucky. uh, uh, Step two, I think, is, for me, like, once you have people like that, I think it's, you want to give them the chance to work on what they want to work, and give them the autonomy and the freedom to make decisions along the way and make mistakes, and really just figure it out by themselves. It's I believe that we try to tell people, like, hey, what are the things that you want to do, and then from there make the role or your responsibilities revolve around that. And usually people are more, give their best work when they're working on something that is true to them. I think, step two, just like try to make those opportunities for people, and make that space where they can deliver the work that they want to deliver. Uh, and yeah, just like a and then after that, make them work and then take all the credit, and then people will think that you are the one doing everything. And I'm kidding. I think it's, like, the other thing that I was saying, that I hacked the system, is that now, like, for example, a startup is moving into the NFT space. So we're about to launch, a set of tools. Well, we're actually launching one tool first, for NFT creators. So now Blush, we're actually making another sub company, I guess, under the Blush umbrella, that is called Bueno. And Bueno will be a set of tools for NFT creators. So no-code tools for creating your contract, easy to use tools for airdrops, for everything about your collection, to maintaining the communication with your community and all of that stuff. I think that's where that's where I say I hacked it, because, like, now even my startup is also part of this world. So in a way, it's all kind of the same stuff. And I think also another hack is just be like me and don't have a life, and just do this. I I don't know. It's, sometimes I I get to these things, and for me, this is, it doesn't feel like work. I feel privileged that I am in a space where, like, all of this stuff that I'm doing is really just something that I would do anyway, that I will try to find the time to do anyway. So I'm lucky and fortunate enough and privileged that I am in a space working on something that is, that it just feels natural to me. And I know that it's really easy to say, well, just find a job that you're really passionate about, and then it's not going to feel like work anymore. But I know that that's not a privilege that everyone has. But also I would say that that's not something I just started doing that, and it has always been a lot of work. Now I feel like I am in that space. So stop drinking, don't have friends, don't watch Netflix, say goodbye to your life, and then you'll be able to do it.
Thank you for the encouraging for the encouragement.
Yeah.
But you know what I realized while you talked? Roy was asking earlier in the chat, or actually noting that 3 years ago you were talking to us in Israel before COVID,
Yeah.
about a library of illustrations that is dynamic and people can change.
Yeah.
And now, three years later, you have an NFT project that follows the same principle. And now you're moving your startup into the NFT. So it seems like there's like a really interesting circles of inspiration from yourself.
Yeah.
Is this on purpose, or do you just like every time you're like, that's interesting, and you go into it?
Yeah, I think it's another thing that I feel like I was lucky. I feel like all of this time. Yeah, 3 years ago I was talking about illustration systems, and I was talking about illustration systems even before that, and just like creating character sheets and how to be more efficient with and all the possibilities that you can get by creating these things, where like it allows you to be faster, but also allows you to be really creative. Uh, and now with like generative art collections and NFTs, then suddenly it felt like, wait, hold on, we've been doing this for a while, but now people are paying for it. It's like, what the hell? So we just like we just jumped on the hype train, I guess. I was actually pretty cautious about like jumping on the hype train. I, I knew about NFTs like a year ago, more than a year ago, but I was a little bit wary about it. With anything that is new and that you don't fully understand, you're like, yeah, I don't know if it is for me. So, and also I was like wary of like, is this just a fad? Is this just a thing that is going to like right now people are talking about, but it's going to go away in a couple of weeks because of how the media works now. But no, like then I realized like the more I started investigating about it, the more I realized like, oh no, this is not just the JPEGs, and this is not just this. This is actually the future. This is how the web is going to work in the future. This is how we're going to move away from Web 2, or we're actually going to upgrade a lot of these things to be the technology of the future is going to be based on these things. Right now, it's really early, and it's really like it's a real one of those spaces where it feels like if you were transported back into 1996, 1997, and people were talking about the internet, and people were like, only a few people were actually doing something in the internet. Only a few people were consumers of this internet, and most of the people were like, oh yeah, this internet thing, I don't know, I like it how it's always been. So I feel like we're at that stage right now with the Web3 movement, where a lot of the things that are happening are really, it's right now, it feels like the wild, wild west. It feels like there's a lot of creative people, a lot of really people who are pushing the limits of what the technology can do and trying and experimenting and just finding out what can we do with this new thing, with this new toy. And so right now we are at that stage. And if you go back to late 90s, early 2000s, the web felt like that too. It was chaotic, but it was also so creative. There was so much stuff. Like there were tools that allow you to do, I mean, remember Flash? Allow you to do a lot of stuff. And like the web was not standardized. There was not one way of navigating the web. You arrive to a site and you will have to figure out how to do things, because like everybody wanted to do their own type of navigation and their own kind of story. So it was a pretty like young and creative era of the internet. Right now, it feels like that, the Web3. It feels like we are at that stage where we're figuring out things, and we're also like doing things that don't really have a purpose. It's just like fun to do. And it's just like, again, we have this technology. How can we do cool stuff with it? Right now we're at that stage. And it, like, if you're someone who likes experimenting with things and you thrive in chaos, then you will really love getting into this space, because like with that chaos and with this like there's a lot of opportunities for actually bringing order to that chaos potentially, and also just like bringing a different mindset and also learning new things. So sorry, what was the question? I don't remember. Oh yeah, like going into this, I think for me it has always been just like a curiosity has always driven what I do. And right now, curiosity got me into this black hole of the Web3. So if you're a curious person, and also, well, using the things that I know, so illustration systems, creating product, being a designer, all that stuff that I know, and that's the stuff that I'm applying in this space. But if you're someone who's in financials, who you are in service design, whatever you do, like you're going to find a home in this space too, because there's just a need for people, for talented, creative people. So like, yeah.
So that was really interesting. I have to say that I always looked at NFT like, I'm not gonna go into that. It doesn't seem real. And like now hearing you speak, I kind of feel, oh my God, if I become that person that says, oh, it's not real over everything. So at least speaking on my own behalf, that was truly inspiring. And I'm gonna read more about NFTs after this session.
Awesome.
So I see we have a question from Galia. She asked, what kind of tools do you use? And is an image start from a doodle on a paper?
What kind of tools do you use, and what else? Sorry.
Does your process of creating an image just starts with like doodling on paper?
Yeah. So maybe I could like see if I can share my screen and get.
Of course, you can share your screen. This is what we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, is that it? Hold on, let me share my screen. But like what tools I use? I'm using just Figma for most of the stuff that I create. Like just for example, well, like you were asking about sketches, and you can see that all of these are made on Procreate. And well, what happened there? This is, I don't know what happened there. Oh, there you go. So and then I put together just like the design. For example, those pieces were created on Procreate, but then I start putting, whoa, that little guy is a little bit bloated, just went to the dentist to get one of his molars fixed. So yeah, but let me show you. This is just a landing page, so it's not oh man, just my computer gets so slow when I start sharing my screen. So, but here you get to see, like for example, like how we're trying to incorporate the tokens, the Robotos, into different experiences. So just like a grabbing random, well, actually I own these Roboto tokens, and then seeing how to put them in different experiences, and then put them there. Let me see if I can. Wow, my computer is really slow. I'm so sorry. Like whenever I try to share my screen, it just freezes. I've actually stopped doing live streams because of that, because I don't know what happened to my computer. Then now it's like I start sharing my screen. Look at that. Okay, no, I'm going to stop. I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. It was really cool to see your Figma.
Well, the tools are a little bit Figma, a little bit Procreate, and like if you want to get into the technical side of it, but just like, but I use those tools because I know how to use them. And you could do the same with Photoshop and Illustrator too. Uh, well, maybe a different process, but at the end of the day, it's the same as vectors and pixels.
So I see Nelly was also asking, like if you have any tips for someone who wants to learn how to illustrate.
For any tips to know how to illustrate?
Yes, exactly.
Uh, practice a lot. I think it's being patient, and if you there's a lot of tutorials out there that can get you started on YouTube, just like on basic illustration tips and just like a basic practices that you can follow. And but it's really just a lot of um, being patient and being consistent and trying and trying and trying. And I say patient because this is, I mean, really the secret of all is doing a lot of work, and also being patient. Where it's like you're not going to be a good illustrator in a week. You're going to be an okay-ish illustrator in 3 years, and you're going to be a little bit better illustrator in 5 years. I know that sounds. I mean, if you're just starting, yeah, that's good. It's gonna take you a while, and like some people have the advantage that they have been drawing, or that they have never let that curious kid who's drawing and making doodles, they they have not killed that little kid, because I feel like we all as kids had that curiosity, and we all had that creativity, or we explored that creative side of ours. But then we started growing up, and then we decided that that wasn't the grown-up thing to do. For those who stopped those voices and kept drawing, I think they have an advantage, because they have been practicing for a very long time, and then suddenly you give them a tool like Illustrator, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, I get it. It's just the technical side, but I've been drawing for a long time. But if you're really just starting, then it's not impossible, but you just gotta be patient. It's like learning the guitar, right? It's going to suck. But at least there are going to be some chords that you can do. So like you can also just follow some principles on how to use basic shapes, and how to create basic faces and basic characters, and that's going to get you pretty far, uh, but but still, like, in a very simple way. If you want to become a great illustrator, just have to keep practicing. I hate to have the boring answer, but that's what it is.
No, but it's a good answer, and sometimes the boring answer is the right one.
Yeah.
Pablo, I want to ask you about something a bit different. So in the last 2 years, obviously none of us traveled too much, and we've been confined to our homes. And in that time, you have continued to create side projects, and you launched your own startup. So
Yeah.
do you feel, or maybe I should ask, how do you feel that COVID has influenced that? And do you have any tips for us as designers and creators in this very weird time?
Yeah. I think I know it's not the right thing to say, but like the pandemic in a way kind of was there was a benefit of having the pandemic, because then we could do a lot of things from home. We didn't have to travel to meet investors. We didn't Our team could be anywhere. And so a lot of the things that you will need to create a startup, we didn't need an office. So like, which takes a big chunk of your runway when like you're trying to like work with a limited budget, and suddenly we didn't need an office. And so I would say that there were some advantages of like being like working remotely, and just like, but even working remotely, I would have had to, well, potentially just meet with investors in San Francisco and go to the meetings and be in person and all that stuff. Uh, Obviously, I don't know what would have happened if I had done that. Maybe it would have been even better because meeting people in person sometimes is better, right? You get a better feeling of the person, and maybe I would have created a better impact with people if I had been in person. But also, like having been able to do it all remotely, I didn't have to fly. I didn't have to pay rent in San Francisco to be there and just like going to meetings to different places. So I I s- uh, I saved myself from all of that, and then like a lot of investors like had to adapt to this way of meeting startups too. So I don't know. I think it was a good thing. But even wow, yeah, the pandemic, it was a great thing. Thank you. Wow, is this being recorded? Wow. Okay. So there,
We'll
I
erase
think
that.
we did the best with what we had, and now the thing is that we also had an advantage because like our team had already worked remotely for years. I had been working remotely for years. So even before the pandemic, I was already used to that environment, working from home, working from a laptop, and having a team distributed across different time zones. Like all those difficulties, and also just like feeling feeling the blues of being by yourself and not being in an office with other people and not having that serendipitous kind of conversations that you might have in the office. I was already I had already been lacking that for years, so we had that advantage too. So we're in a way, yeah, we had that advantage. So yeah, I don't know, like also like the pandemic like suddenly put a lot of time in our hands. So uh, I don't know, as a creative person, I'm pretty sure a lot of you started doing like things like that you wanted to do before but you didn't have the time to do them. Practice an instrument, or practice drawing or illustration, some of you maybe, or learn a new skill or read those books. For us, it was just like I had been wanting, like you mentioned, like for 3 years, more than 3 years, I had been talking about illustration systems. And the idea of creating Blush, or creating a tool that allowed others to do the things that I was able to do with my illustration systems, is an idea that I already had before, but it just didn't have the time or the resources to do them, to make it a reality. And then suddenly the pandemic began, and I don't know if you remember, but this was like March of last year, where we're like, oh, it's good to be like a couple of weeks, right? Hey, let's work on something this 2 weeks. And those 2 weeks became a month, and then they became 6 months, and then it became a year. So we started as hey, it's just a fun way to use our time. And then it became like, oh, this is becoming like a real thing. So let's talk to investors. Maybe they're interested. Well, actually, investors showed interest, and we're like, should we quit? Should we quit or uh, good paying jobs during a pandemic when the world's future is uncertain? Should we just make this decision of just like quitting our jobs and going to work on a startup about doodles? And this is why I say I'm lucky that I found these my two co-founders who are like, yeah, let's do it. They're like, are you sure? Okay. So we all quit our jobs to do this, and then we did struggle a little bit just to find investors. You know, in the beginning, you need a couple of investors, and then I don't know what happens, but once investors like one invest, then everyone starts feeling FOMO or something, and then now everybody wants to invest. So you don't know how many times I heard no, and I learned a lot from rejection. You learn a lot from going into meetings with people who don't know you, you don't know them, and then going there and just like, hey, selling your idea and just being this show person. and and telling them about this vision that you have, and then them telling you like, no, your vision is not going to make any money. Why? Go do something else. Like having that constantly, you being told that constantly, it's, and then during a pandemic when you cannot go and like, I don't know, go cry with someone else. Like that was hard. That was pretty hard. And also I was going through a breakup at the same time. So there was like two kinds of rejections that I was going through. And it was not a great experience. I think for a lot of people, I'm not, it was my bad experience. But then after that, like one investor said yes, and then suddenly everyone wanted to invest. And now I was the one saying no. I was the one saying like, no, I don't know. What are you gonna offer me? What are you gonna do for my startup? And it was it was a pretty much just a roller coaster. It was fun to learn all this world. We were just closing our another round, and this one was super different. And I think this one was super different because we have been pretty consistent about uh, sharing our process and our progress to our investors and to everyone. And every month, I send an update with all the numbers, all the bad stuff, all the good stuff, also like updates on the team. And now that we're like, hey, we're gonna get into the NFT space and we need some money. Like a totally different experience. Like because like we pretty like from one day to another we got around. It was like totally mind blowing. Again, I'm lucky. I don't know. I don't know why, how. I'm lucky. Right time, right space, right people. And now we're going through this like a new journey now. What was the question? Oh, man, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. It was such an interesting answer, Pablo. I don't know what was the question, but we talked about college. But it was, I think, inspiring to hear that, someone here speaking to us, and someone that obviously has an amazing reputation also struggles sometimes. And it's not like everything that's shining. And also, like you keep saying lucky, but someone once told me that success comes from luck, talent, and hard work. And it just seems like for you, hard work is such, and obviously talent, but both of them are just so impactful and so big that it's not surprise that you're so successful.
Thank you.
Of course. I know we have like 1 minute. There's one really amazing question in the chat that I want to finish with, if it's okay with you. So Ruth was asking, what are you looking at in the people you add to your team?
Hunger. Hunger for learning and for growing, and an open mind, and just like an attitude of that surrounds that mentality of like, hey, I want to learn, I want to grow, and I want to create awesome stuff while I'm doing it, and I want to collaborate with others. It's really those soft skills, we call them soft skills, but really those are the hard skills. I would say those are the hard to get. Those are the skills that are, it's hard to get someone like that has that mentality and that mindset, because then knowing how to use Figma and knowing how to do the other things, like it's going to be easy for them, because they don't need, like, I mean, obviously it would be great if they had the actual hard skills, but even if they don't, it's going to be okay, because they have that mentality of growth and of learning, and just like listening to others, and then making something out of that feedback and collaborating with others. So for them, I prefer someone who doesn't know how to use Figma, but really wants to learn how to use Figma, for example. And so that's I think what I look and obviously some other skills that will make lives easier for everyone, like if specific for the role. I do I think for designers specifically, I do think that there has to be some visual design, visual skills, like the and those things. It's kind of a mystery for me, like how people have those skills, and I think it's a lot of culture and a lot of also that curiosity mentality, that they're curious enough that they're able to see the works from others and learn from those works, and then create their own visual style and their own way of communicating things in a visual way. So it goes back to having an open mindset where like you're really just like feeding off on the things that surround you. And that's how I think the theory that how you develop this, what we call it, the eye, the visual eye. And it's really, I don't think it's a talent. I think it's really like, it goes back to just like having an open mind. And so yeah, if a designer, like it's hard, I know, like I know that for a lot of designers, they're like, visual skills, they put them down, but I, that's most of the stuff, that's how you're going to communicate something, how you are going to convey a message with visual things. So like even just the basics of how to put a typography in a way that the words are not only clear, but they, like, I want to read them because they look beautiful. That is something that I look on. So it's for designers, I see, if you want to know if in a Mexican restaurant, if the food is good, you go and taste the beans. Go and taste the beans. The most basic plate, the most basic thing, go taste the beans. If the beans are good, that is a pretty good indicator that the rest of the food is going to be pretty good too, because they got the basics right. And they're going to be putting those beans on the tortilla, on the torta, on the bread, on everything. And it's going to, if they care about that detail, they're going to care about everything else. So I think with designers, typography are the beans, are the basic of everything. So if you really care about the typography, which is almost like more in product design and everything, the editorial design is 90% of what you're actually putting out there. If you care about how that looks like sets the tone of the product, sets the tone of the message, and also just the basics of like line height and line length, and just like making things like be legible and understandable, and also like feel like there's, I have an interest to read the words, even in this chaotic world that is trying to grab my attention. If you make a piece that feels like I want to read it, then you know how to make the beans. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to be able to do the rest of the stuff pretty good. You're going to be making the carne asada pretty good, and the mole pretty good too, because you really care about the beans. And the thing is that a lot of designers just jump straight to the carne asada. They want to make the animations. They want to make the flying prototypes with a lot of 3D elements and all that stuff, which is okay, but you need to learn the basics first. And wow, that's a pretty weird analogy, but I'm in Mexico, so I I keep talking about Mexican food, I guess.
It makes sense. And by the way, everyone in the chat are like hungry right now. So I know we're a few minutes over. So Pablo, I just want to say thank you so much. It was inspiring and very different from our last talk last year. So I'm super curious to see what we'll talk about next time we see you. Yeah, and we are all looking to see when it comes out. So please let us know. And yeah, just good luck. It's so great to see everything you're doing.
Thank you, Shir, and thank you everyone for being here. It's I see a lot of different faces, and it's so cool that you do this and that you host these kinds of things. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Of course, of course. Okay, have a great noon, great evening, Israel. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.